Rodriguez played at these schools, know the intensity of this rivalry very well. Pat McAfee to kick off for West Virginia. It's a very short kick. And some confusion as Pittsburgh fields it in a very short return. So not much of a kick, but there is Reynard able to run it out just short of the 20-yard line. So Palco and the Panthers offense will look to Lerod Stevens-Howling. He's not big, and he carried the ball 32 times on Saturday in that double overtime. Collins is a future NFL fullback.
Yeah, I really like Collins, and I think Stevens-Howling, we'll see tonight how he's able to hold up. Chris, you mentioned he's a workhorse for his size at about 175 pounds, but this West Virginia defense wants to avenge the way they played 2 weeks ago against Louisville.
Pittsburgh's been a very fast-starting team this season. It's Kinder in motion. Play action, they flip it short underneath. They find the fullback, Collins. He's a very effective receiver, 14 catches on the season. The West Virginia defense looking for answers in the secondary. And look at the Pittsburgh guys. Wicks, Rivers, one of those corners that must step up big. And Boo McLeod from Uniontown. All these guys, it means more to them because this is their backyard.
Well, especially Eric Wicks and Vaughn Rivers going to the same high school, playing together, competing against Tyler Palco in high school. Not having much success against him until last year when they beat him in a backyard brawl.
5 yards on the short pass, and now it's Stevens-Howling into traffic up the middle.
Balance within that offense.
Third, they need almost 3 yards here, and Palco will take a timeout as split backs. Quick drop, look to the flat, now fires and has a man open for a first down.
Well, a simple read, but an accurate throw for a first down.
That's Kinder in motion. Palco hesitating. And this is what you talked about, Kirk. He throws it away instead of trying to make a crazy pass back across the field. Just gunslinger. Although I still like a quarterback that's not afraid to squeeze the ball in there and make a play. And Palco still has that in him. On 2nd and 10, looks left. Has some room. Now fires late.
Broke back as a good receiver should do. Came back to the ball for the first down.
Panthers quickly to the line. Quick tempo offense, and now Palco making some changes. Stevens-Howling who cuts it back. Goes straight ahead. 5 yards for the...
Does wonders for a team that's lost 3 in a row.
Hand it off to Stevens-Howling again. No gain on the right side. Quentin Andrews, very productive safety, but a guy who has been susceptible to getting beaten in the passing game up there at run support. Sets up another third down.
Panthers with a third down and 4 from the West Virginia 42.
Coming off 3 straight losses, this would mean a lot for Pittsburgh to get off to a fast start. They had been a pretty fast starting team, and then things changed with the Rutgers game. They got nothing going early. Same thing the next week against USF.
Empty set this time, Chris. 5 receivers.
Palco fires right away as they give him a huge cushion, and Stevens-Howling out.
Off balance as far as what he was expecting, and a huge cushion, and that's pitch and catch for a quarterback, and that time the tailback.
And it's no wonder he's been sharp. Palco 4 of 5 for 44 yards. Flag before the snap. Both teams pointing at each other.
Prior to the snap, offsides, number 96 on the defense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
This is a textbook drive for Matt Cavanaugh. You have 3 runs, 5 passes. You know, Rich Rodriguez right now concerned because this offense, this is exactly the way they wanted to script this game and start this game, with great balance and good decisions from their quarterback.
2 tight ends now on 1st and 5 after the penalty. Play action. Over the middle, into traffic, it is caught, diving for the end zone, touchdown. No fumble.
Senior year exactly the way he needed to.
Darius Reynard takes it in the end zone. And Pat White and the Mountaineer offense will start at the 20.
Well, this is interesting here at the beginning. You're going to find Bynum here. He's going to get off field, but Wicks is going to come in and put pressure, and he almost has a chance to get there on Tyler Palko. Right there, he gets, but what I find interesting is Williams comes off of his receiver and comes over, and by coming over, makes this throw a lot tougher because he's able to recognize and read the eyes of Palko, but Palko put enough touch on the ball to allow the true freshman to go up in the air and utilize his size at 6'3" to make the catch.
And the first 4 completions of the drive were all pretty safe. That was a little risky down there near the goal line, but he got away with it.
Turned his back from the play, which makes it even tougher, obviously, to read the defense.
Familiar formation as White hands to Slayton, and he's stopped for no gain. This is the dynamic, super speedy backfield of the Mountaineers, running behind an offensive line that is disciplined. There are 3 Pennsylvania guys, including the tough center we talked about, Dan Moses.
Love to watch Dan Moses. The reason Dan Moses is important is because of his block on the zone play. We'll watch it a lot tonight on the second level, trying to get up to HB Blades and freeing up Pat White and Steve Slayton to run.
Well, there's Slayton in kind of a stack formation in the slot behind. And White has trouble with the snap and now has to scramble. Doesn't get great footing in the backfield there and dives ahead for only 2 yards. Pittsburgh's got some excellent linebackers. HB Blades in the middle. Tommy Campbell, a speedy guy, counted on tonight. Clint Session, very productive.
It's an important game for this defense. We mentioned they lost 3 in a row. Last week, this team had a lead, 31-17 against UConn with 8 minutes to go and fell apart. They need, again, much like their offense, to start well against the electrifying Pat White.
Here comes the noise, and White has 5 wide receivers on 3rd and 8. It's a little screen. Complete, but trying to navigate traffic and get near the first down marker is Slayton. He gets just across the 30. So dangerous in space is Steve Slayton.
3 plays, Chris. 3 different formations, moving their All-American running back around. One time right next to Pat White, the next time stacked behind a receiver, and then that time all the way to the sideline right next to Rich Rodriguez, just moving him around, breaking tendencies, finding different ways to get him the football.
Yet another formation now as they get the big conversion to keep Pittsburgh from building more momentum in this first quarter. White on the keeper. And they do a good job. That was the defensive emphasis, Kirk. They said it over and over in the meetings. We must not let White beat us running. They've had trouble stopping running quarterbacks. Vernon Box there with the stop.
I love to find out from the coaches that Vernon Box is a 5th-year senior from New Jersey, but as a 5th-year senior, he's very familiar with this offense from West Virginia. There's the 3 different tempos, the fast, the indie, and the jet. When they get going in jet, we won't be able to talk much in between plays. But
that's all right.
Box is out there because he gets the rivalry, and it was great to see him involved here early and playing with a lot of emotion and desire.
They've run the ball 3 times for 1 yard, so White will go deep. Has a man open, it's Slayton with the catch. Had to come back to the football, but collects it inside the 30 as he beat the safety Sam Bryant, 43 yards.
Pitt has to be careful of playing man-to-man coverage. The safety is going to walk up, and he's going to stay man-to-man here. And I think this is a mismatch, and this is a matchup every single time. Pat White, the guy that everybody thinks can't throw, just threw the ball right down the field to his All-American running back.
So Slayton involved as a receiver early with 2 catches. The running game hasn't yet gotten going. They do a decent job hemming in White, but is able to kind of dart forward for about 4.
I wouldn't want to put a corner on Steve Slayton, let alone a safety. That is a genuine mismatch, and that's what I think this offense, that's how it's changing as the year goes on. It's no longer just the zone read, running Steve Slayton, running Pat White, mixing in some play action. Now Paul Rhodes, as the defensive coordinator, has to worry about moving this West Virginia offense, moving Steve Slayton around. And they've done it again here.
He's in the slot, 4 wide receivers for White, who just takes it straight up the middle. Not his typical run, kind of a bulldozer style. He's going to be about 2 yards short of the first down. Clint Session there on the stop.
Well, the linebackers are going to have their work cut out for him tonight. The inside linebacker, HB Blades, his job is to stay with Steve Slayton. Wherever Steve Slayton goes, His job is to follow Steve Slayton, and the outside linebackers need to contain Pat White.
Panthers crowd bringing the noise on 3rd and 3. White looks for Slayton, cuts it back, and he fights for a first down near the 15. So Matt White looking very quickly for his best buddy in the football team, and Slayton once again comes through. Big East standings, West Virginia, that loss at Louisville, but again, re-energized. Now the Mountaineers have to root for Rutgers to win their next 2. That would create a 3-way tie if West Virginia can knock off the Scarlet Knights down the road in Morgantown in a couple weeks, and West Virginia would have a great chance of winning that 3-way tie and getting the BCS bid out of this league. This time, Slayton to the house. So Wannstedt watches as West Virginia get a big 3rd and long conversion early in the drive. Slayton is a receiver early and a runner for the touchdown.
Able to convert a few 3rd downs. Pat White, very, very nice drive, showing some diversity within this offense. And I thought the way they utilized Steve Slayton that time was outstanding. He caught as many passes as he ran that time down the field.
The 15-yard touchdown caps off the drive in which Slayton caught 3 passes for 57. Each team reaches the end zone on its first possession, 7-7. Blasts into the end zone, and now Palco and the Panthers will have to try to answer. It's a low kick. Taken on the far side by Lowell Robinson, a dangerous return man, and Robinson shaking free. Gets around the kicker. Gets into West Virginia territory down near the 30. Field in the last few weeks.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's tough.
So fantastic field position as Palco is going to throw on first down. Looking deep and forced it. There was nobody there except a couple of white jerseys. Abraham Jones, the backup free safety, in coverage along with Vaughn Rivers.
Chris, let me go back. This is, after all the variety that they were showing you, this is the read that Pat White has as a quarterback. But the blocks that he picked up from his left tackle Stanchek right here on Blades, and then Moses, we talked about being able to pick up a block on Session, and the next thing you know, look how it opened up. And it was because of the variety of the offense and the athletic ability of that big offensive line getting to the second level of those linebackers from Pitt.
Big hole, 4.35 speed. It's good night very quickly. Stevens howling on the inside handoff. Smothered on 2nd long. It'll set up a 3rd and 9 now. Bobby Hathaway, one of the guys whose older brother, played on the Pittsburgh side of this rivalry, there for the stop.
I don't mind that Pitt decided to take a shot on 1st and 10. The only thing that happens, especially after the big return, the only thing that happens then is it sets up 2nd and long, and then they decide to run. And this is the first time we've seen them now in a 3rd and 9 situation.
Yeah, the 2 conversions in their first drive were kind of 3rd and medium. It's Kinder who comes in motion and comes back. Pump fake. Palco scrambling, loses the football. It's still loose. I believe the Panthers get it back. Only a short loss as they dodge trouble there. And they'll be able to attempt a field goal. It'll be a long one. The ball's at the 35-yard line.
You see the pump fake by Palco. It was taken away completely by Eric Wicks. Then the ball is a little bit loose, and the ball's all over the place. Pitt is very, very fortunate to come back with the football to give themselves a chance here on 4th down, but very loose with the ball, looking a little bit like Tyler Palco from a couple years ago as opposed to what he's been able to do this year.
Mark Magro forcing the fumble. Pittsburgh just out of field goal range, so they'll go for it on 4th and 11. Palco fires short. It's going to be short of the first down. Steve Bucas, the tight end, but hit immediately, and he'll fall about 6 yards short of the first down. Vaughn Rivers there for the stop.
That's a great call by Jeff Castile from West Virginia. Realizing that it was so far to go on 4th and 11, he decided to bring the blitz to force Palco to have to get rid of it before his receivers even got to the first down marker. So good call, works out that time for the Mountaineers.
And Bucas, the senior from here in Pittsburgh, limping off, the starting tight end, heading to the bench, favoring his ankle.
Here's Jeff Castile, the defensive coordinator.
He's an important part of the offense. We'll keep an eye on Bucas as White, and the Mountaineers take over for their second possession. It is Slayton running left into a bunch of traffic, and he'll be stopped for a loss. Remington on ABC, 3:30 and 8 o'clock Eastern Time. What a day, Saturday. No gain in the first down run for Slayton, so it's 2nd and 10. And it's White on the reverse. Pitching off to his buddy, but the Panthers all over it. Another loss. And Tommy Campbell, the linebacker.
Discipline to stay home on the reverse.
Five receivers on 3rd and 12. White trying to make a move and fight for the first down. He's near it up at the 39. Clint Session there on the stop. You see the quicks of White. As he accelerated, appears to have the first down, judging by the spot on the yellow line.
This is the
How quick is this guy?
This is the danger for Dave Wannstedt and for all defensive coaches in deciding to rush 3 and drop 8. The concept makes a lot of sense on 3rd and long. But you force him to run, and he has such acceleration that you cover everybody, and then he takes off for 12 or 13 yards.
There's a first down. You know, they've been really hurt by running quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, and that was a big problem for him last week. But this is great coverage. It's a great idea, but it's a difference maker in the backfield. And Pat White is one of the fastest quarterbacks in the country, but there are a lot of quarterbacks hurting defenses this year by being able to run. It really has hurt Pitt. The dual threat quarterback is last week, DJ Hernandez, 130 yards on the ground.
And made DJ look like Vince Young in that double overtime loss. Growth really hurt him with a couple of scrambles in that win by USF. And here goes White up the middle. White into the secondary and down inside the 40. Boy, it's tough. You get him 3rd and long, Kirk. They convert it. It's like a dagger for the defense.
Paul Rhodes told us that he had an idea of how to try to stop, and I figured out what his idea is. When West Virginia comes with the zone, he wants his defense flying. Here's the only drawback. Rich Rodriguez has a chance to be able to come back and have the chalk next. And when he sees what Pitt's trying to do against their zone with Steve Slayton, he runs Pat White the other way.
Incomplete. He looked for Slayton, but he overled him on the short throw. Again, they feel Slayton is fast, Slayton is great, Slayton may get his yards, but got to control the run by the quarterback, and White already has had runs of 12 and 23 yards.
Yeah, and that's why when you look at West Virginia and you say, boy, they rush for 318, which is 2nd in the nation. They only throw for 145. Where's the balance? Where their balance is they stretch the field horizontally and make you defend every aspect of it.
White fires to an open Darius Raynaud. He slips down inside the 15. White has been very sharp as a passer in the early going.
Right now, what Pat White has decided to do is to go after the senior Sam Bryant when he gets one-on-one opportunities, and that's what he is going to do this time. He's looking into the defense, and he thinks that he's got the matchup. He looks for Bryant. He sees it. It's a zone, and he throws it right behind Bryant into the hole in the zone to one of his best receivers, Raynaud.
It's a first appearance for Owen Schmidt, the fullback, and he leads White, who will lose yardage running right. Owen Schmidt, a big part of this offense as well, but he's nursing kind of an ankle injury. Rashawn Duncan, the nose tackle on the stop.
It's funny how
he's kind of favored.
Yeah, he does look like that. But for people that have watched who are not West Virginia fans and heard a lot about Pat White and heard about his running ability and how quick he is, yeah, he's been able to run tonight 7 times for 43, but he's also 4 for 5 through the air for 82 yards here in this first quarter.
Fakes the throw. and is stopped. Flying up there, the sure-handed tackler, H.B. Blades, who's one of the top tacklers in the country. 126 tackles coming into this game. Just missed being a Butkus finalist.
Yeah, it's getting a little chippy out here on the field, which you'd expect. Rayshawn Bolton and Darrell Revis, who are familiar with each other. It's a backyard brawl. You're going to have some of that. It's going to be up to the officials to try to keep these teams apart from one another.
Revis close to a flag there.
Yeah, it was. Revis, by the way, one of the better cover corners this year in college football.
Mountaineers 3 for 3 on third down so far. White loops it to the end zone. Touchdown. One more time, it's Steve Slayton who reaches the end zone for the second time. This guy can throw the ball, folks.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, number 5 in White can throw the football. This kid, Pat White, just has not needed to throw it. But if you match up man-to-man, this time it was Tommy Campbell, outside linebacker, one-on-one. I got an idea, Pitt. Get out of the man coverage when it comes to covering Steve Slayton. Campbell actually is with him stride for stride, but the ball is thrown over the outside shoulder.
This is perfect.
Perfect throw. Danny Marino could not have laid that in any better. Perfect throw, and it's a touchdown.
And that's the final play of the first quarter as McAfee knocks through the conversion. 2 possessions, 2 long drives, 2 touchdowns by Steve Slayton. Mountaineers lead it after 15 minutes. On a 71-yard drive, Slayton lost a couple of yards on the ground in that drive, and McAfee boots it to Robinson. Can he produce another big return? Kind of bumped into a blocker, circles back, and he'll get swallowed up at the 15. John Holmes, the DB there on the coverage. So
tonight, this is one of the worst fields I've seen, so this is a throwback for him. His linemen have cooperated with the conditions on the field and held their own, playing very well.
Get the feeling there's a lot of urgency for every possession for the Panthers because their defense is in for a long night. And Stevens Howling stopped. It was a very promising opening.
Hey, Pat White. I just hope people are taking this in. 5 of 6, and the way he's thrown the football tonight, a little variety to Steve Slayton.
Yeah, Rodriguez said not many wrinkles in a short week. We've seen a couple tonight, though, using Slayton much more as a receiver. There's
water. The guys before the game said their feet were sticking to the ground. They weren't slipping, but that field in the middle, guys, is looking pretty messy. Guys are starting to change their cleats.
Yeah, they better. This is not one of the prettier fields you'll find in the NFL. Frequent complaints when the Steelers play here. On third down, nice completion. Derek Turner who breaks free. Derek Turner.
Defense from the Louisville game where they struggled is tackling better in space, and that time Larry Williams allows the ball to be caught, but you got to make the tackle.
Good. I think 5 different guys started corner this year. It's been a trouble spot. Stevens Howling on the delay, has room up the middle, cuts back.
He's so small he doesn't need a big crease to get through.
So 59 yards in the last 2 plays after the Panthers faced a 3rd and long. Just a few seconds left. Has protection, now has to duck down. Good coverage job there by the Mountaineers. Palco angry, wanted his receiver to kind of release. Holmes, the safety combining with Wicks on the stop. Seen good offensive fireworks in the early going here. West Virginia touchdowns on each of their first 2 possessions. Panthers got up to a 7-0 lead, now trying to tie the score. Salvage their season after 3 straight losses. The Mountaineers still in great position to win the Big East. Malco flips it across to Marcel Pestano. He's thrown out of bounds at the 15, thrown down hard after a gain of about 7 by John Holmes. Almost a backwards pass there.
Almost a backwards pass, but what I noticed there, Pistano picks up good yardage, but when Holmes came over to knock him out of bounds, he threw him out of bounds and then came up and had a few words for him. He's fortunate there he didn't pick up 15 yards, or in this case half the distance to the goal line and an automatic first down.
Rodriguez would have blown a gasket if that happened. 3rd and 5. Malco Throws to the end zone, wide open.
It's not only a mess, but it's uneven. That's the toughest part about the field.
Vaughn Rivers, a running start as he spins across the 20 and then gets smacked down there. So Mountaineers 2 for 2, reaching the end zone. We'll go back on offense as we check you. Reese, thanks. About 18.5 minutes. We've had 4 touchdown drives of 70 yards or longer. White flips it back to Brandon Miles, who gets a couple of nice blocks. Muscles out to the 35 for a first down. Slayton was out there blocking, doing a bit of everything.
Well, they've been moving Steve Slayton around. He's in the slot that time and gets the ball to Miles. But Pat White right now, again, showing that he has the ability to throw the football. He's mixed it up. He's thrown quite a bit, actually, to his tailback, but reminding people that if you take away the throw, he can run, but he goes back. And that's hitting Steve Slayton right in stride. He's 6 of 7 right now for 105 yards, looking very, very in control of this game.
He's rushed for 45. Slayton corralled and dropped for a loss. Blades was there to help out Corey Davis, the sophomore from Pittsburgh. Defensive line, not the strength of this defense. They're just kind of trying to hold guys up and let the linebackers come make the plays.
Well, they told us that the front 4 and the middle linebacker have to take away the running game of Steve Slayton and leave it up to the perimeter players to slow down Pat White. And that was textbook that time on how to slow down Steve Slayton.
Now a pitch. And Reynaud takes it from White on the sidelines. The wrinkles just keep coming. And Pitt's defense has done a pretty good job tonight. A lot of negative rushing plays by the Mountaineers, Kirk, but then all of a sudden the explosion and the quick gain.
I love this one. This is a nice little wrinkle where he's got Reynaud way back here lined up as a wide receiver. But after the fake to Slayton, everybody collapses down. Now he's coming out to the outside. I know the play wasn't real successful, but he had a receiver in the slot who just kind of waited to be in position to be in pitch relationship with his quarterback.
It sets up a 3rd and 4. White, a little dart to a man wide open, and it's Reynaud fighting inside the 35 before Sam Bryant brings him down. The accurate throws continue. White limping a little bit as he moves across midfield.
The passing continues, and a lot of it, again, right towards Sam Bryant, the safety. And if you have a safety who's responsible in one-on-one coverage with a gifted receiver like Reynaud, who's really a tailback lined up as a slot receiver, that is an easy throw for a guy like Pat White to make.
See if the Panthers can make some adjustments, get Bryant some help. Slayton. And again, a good job by H.B. Blades doing his job, flying through there. The senior comes from Plantation, Florida, the great Blades family name. His father, Benny, with whom he shares his full name, Horatio Benedict Blades. And this guy grew up around good football. His uncle Al, instrumental in raising him, another former Hurricane in Miami. What a player this guy is. Thought he deserved to be a Butkus finalist. Missed out narrowly at making the top 3.
One of the great warriors this year in college football. Plays with a great deal of passion. He missed this game last year.
They give it off to Schmidt, the fullback again, who's ailing a little bit with an ankle problem in a short game. Talked about Benny Blades. Football player. Bullock Spielman has in his eye a lot of the time. Still perfect on 3rd down coming into this pass attempt, and there's the first miss on 3rd down. Reynaud well covered over there by Kennard Cox. Brandon Miles, check it, the intended receiver.
Because Miles was set up so far to the top of your screen, he was about 5 yards from the boundary. He didn't have a lot of room to work with that time against Cox. The ball was actually thrown to the inside, but Cox nonetheless had great coverage on Miles.
So here comes Pat McAfee, 51 yards, his longest attempt of the season. Tough stadium for kickers. Trying to draw it back in, and he just snuck it in there. And the kicker's even chest bumping now for West Virginia. This has a reputation of being a very tough place to kick, and when you get one in Heinz Field from 51, you've done something. I mean, that's a nice little draw, squeezed inside the post. Mountaineers up by 3. And the Panthers will try to answer. McAfee, fresh off that long field goal, makes the mistake and boots the ball out of bounds and is mad at himself.
Boy, he was on a roll there, only to have a poor kickoff. But Tyler Palko comes back out of the field, and we've been talking so much tonight about he and Pat White, and both have lived up to our expectations and maybe a little bit more. And don't count Tyler Palko out in this game. He has a heart of a lion, heart of a champion. He will get his team back in there. He's a coach's son. He has that kind of mindset. Always over at the facility. They have to kick him out at 10:30 at night, say, hey, man, it's enough for one day. Get out of here and come back tomorrow. He just loves to grind and work at getting better.
Pitches it out there to Derek Kinder. 63 career touchdown passes. Kirk, he's tracking a couple of guys named Moreno and Alex Van Pelt, who was super productive here, a 4-year quarterback for the Panthers, and all of the career records.
He doesn't have ideal size for the NFL. He's about 6'1.5" or 6'2", but I think his game experience that he's received at Pitt, and the fact that he's played in Walt Harris's system and now Matt Cavanaugh's system, who's from the NFL, I think it's going to allow him to transition with less of a learning curve than some of the other quarterbacks in college football.
Stevens howling on the toss sweep, trying to pick his way through traffic. Stopped at the 40 by Eric Wicks and Larry Williams.
Telling you what they tell me.
You got double the players in a college team and an NFL team.
I guess the Steelers feel that maybe they deserve a little bit more room.
Relax. Third down, complete. First down. Still trying to spin free is Kinder.
Considering that Minnesota and the Vikings, Glenn Mason's been asking for his own facility for a long time.
Are they going to get it over there?
I know, finally.
Conridge Collins, the fullback. Got a nice little.
Usually you see the big guys stay in and the tailback go out. That time they reverse roles, and it's a great gain for the Panthers.
Palko still has it, fights off Wicks, and
Badfield, he's a total package.
It's the loss by Palko, sets up second and long. He flips it off once again, looking for Collins. This time he's pretty well covered, but you can see the strength as Boone McClee has to wrestle him to the ground. We asked the question about NFL and college teams sharing stadiums. Ready for our Aflac trivia question? Those of you that follow this rivalry, maybe Bino is ineligible, but he would certainly know about this. The highest scoring game in Backyard Brawl history. Get your ESPN encyclopedia. You can phone to page 716 for the answer, but that would be cheating. 3rd and 7. Panthers 5 of 6 on 3rd down so far. Play action. He's got room. Flips it into open territory. Finally, just had a cut bait. Wannstedt furious. He thought Palko was hit on the sidelines there. Doesn't get a flag. Morty Ivy, the backup linebacker in coverage. Wannstedt went at 15.
A little shove there. It's getting chippy too, by the way. And Tyler Palko, the last couple plays, has been involved in some activity. The play before, you see James Ingram in the background hit him, and then he gets.
That's good strength out of the quarterback.
Huh? He gets stoned by Tyler Palko. It's the Backyard Brawl, baby. When the
open end of Heinz Field. High snap. Low kick, and he drives it.
First half, but at least they're scoring with West Virginia.
Gressel, the punter, kicks off, and it's a high one taken by Vaughn Rivers. Rivers shows a burst of speed and gets out near the 30. Under Armour rally to win it late over West Virginia. Palko, 4 clutch 3rd down completions and a touchdown run. This is White now turning it up. Needs about 5. Palko is one of the high points of his career. It's White. He's still got it, and he's got a man wide open who dropped it. Darius Raynaud a little bit behind him at at the 45, but should have had it. Rodriguez got what he was looking for.
This is what happens if you get so excited about defending the run. Watch everybody and what they do when action comes this way. The only one to stay was H.P. Blades, but look behind H.P. Blades. If Raynon makes that catch in the open field, Shane Murray would struggle to make that play.
He turned and looked downfield before he gathered the football. So now it's 3rd and 5. It's complete, but a loss on the play. First punt for the Mountaineers. They use that rugby punt on the run. It's tricky. And fielding it is Darrell Rivas. Trying to get a block, and he gets a huge run. Rivas down the sidelines. One man to beat. The punter able to slow him up, but he's still spinning into the end zone. Seen the big kickoff return from Robinson, and now the touchdown by Rivas. This is Vaughn Rivers trying to answer for the Mountaineers, but that coverage is pretty solid. And now we'll see how the Mountaineers respond. Punt. But they might be looking to shell that. So White back to work, down 7. Fights forward for 4. Halftime, a minute 35 away. Let's check in with Reese.
Still can't believe he stayed in bounds.
Now they're going to keep it on the ground again, but again, you can create a big play with this kind of an offense. Duncan on the stop.
I'll tell you, this defensive line, the end zone, shocker.
White thrown, there's a man wide open. It's Slayton. He doesn't lose foot races. What a first half. Just when you think the Panthers have momentum, White, another perfect throw.
It goes back to how they've moved him around. This time he's in the backfield. Tommy Campbell's one of the fastest players on the Pitt defense. He's been manned up. This is the second time he got isolated, Chris. And when Pat White has time to throw, and Steve Slayton is one-on-one with the linebacker, that's not fair. And how about the throw by Mr. Pat White?
They kind of lulled him to sleep, though. A couple of runs, Kirk, you thought maybe Rodriguez was going to be content to go to the locker room down 7. They get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. He gets a miss.
There was Mark and I breaking down Ohio State, Michigan. We'll get to that later. But it's great job by H.P. Blades telling Tommy Campbell, keep your head up. Keep your head up. That's a senior taking care of a sophomore, but isolated one-on-one. Now it's Paul Rhodes trying to keep his head up. They say he's got great speed, but one-on-one, this is a matchup that Pat White will take every time. And I don't care who's covering Steve Slayton, but how about the throw right over the shoulder again to number 10 for the touchdown.
And Slayton, you figure there's no way. If you're a defense, you hold him to 7 yards rushing at a half. There's no way you can getting hurt. He's caught the ball for 130 yards receiving. Did have the 15-yard touchdown run, but he's been dropped for a loss numerous times. As Slayton is a guy that's going to have wrist surgery after the season. There's still some concern about that funny bone problem he had against Louisville.
I think tonight's a great example, this first half, about people that have questioned West Virginia. And all they do is run the football. What would happen if teams continue to challenge them and try to take that part of their game away? First half, they've run for 67 and thrown for 201 yards. So again, they're showing that they have that versatility.
Another short kickoff. And it's T.J. Porter and Doran Dickerson, I should say, who's got it.
By the way, that's one way to take the air out of a stadium after a big turn of events on that big return, is to have a big play by one of your go-to guys in Steve Slayton.
With the rain starting now.
Chris, here he is, matched up one-on-one. How many times do we see Matt Leinart do this with Reggie Bush? That's backyard football. Little wheel route, down and up, tough to stay with him.
Palco's going to throw. He's going to look downfield. Why not? Man wide open. It's Kinder into the open field.
And Palco found him in a seam. What's West Virginia's defense thinking there?
They wind the clock. Palco flips it over the middle, caught again. And Pittsburgh now again, no timeouts. It's Kinder in motion. They flip it short. Angle shot for Connor Lee from 40 yards. Now he's kicked. Low line drive kick through the end zone. And that'll be the final play of a very exciting first half here at Heinz Field. Momentum back and forth. Punts run back for a touchdown. Big blocks. And the folks here looking forward to the second half, as is Dave Wanstead is with Aaron.
In that first half showed the ability to throw the football.
It's Raynaud at the goal line. Gets a small crease and bounces across the 25. Darren Andrews. Game and keep throwing it. So there's nothing wrong with the left arm. And Slayton bounces it. Gets the corner, gets 10 yards. Again, only the second positive run he's had. Rivas, who had the touchdown of the punt.
End zone to really spark this Pitt team.
White, toe looks okay. Gets around the corner, has a crease. Pat White, gone.
Pat White on the West Virginia touchdown.
Limping out of the field and then sprinting in the end zone 64 yards. Imagine if he were 100%, Kirk, I tell you.
Yeah. How about the triple option? Reed right there. The defensive end comes down. That tells the quarterback to pull the ball, and this is just magic. This is just creativity and athletic ability in the open field. But with two backs in the backfield that time, this is another one of the adjustments that you have to deal with in the variety of the offense. Owen Schmidt up the middle. You're reading the defensive end. The end collapsed. He pulled the ball, and then he takes it to the next level, and nobody could stop him getting to the end zone.
So White, no ill effects of that turf toe. Takes it to the house. Yet another lead change. And it's the Mountaineers back on top in backyard brawl number 99.
That's more of his wheelhouse,
Sure.
more of his comfort zone there, running the football.
Short kickoff taken by T.J. Porter, who stumbles ahead to the 30. Another look.
Well, the look here, we talked about the defensive end, Joe Klerman. That's going to be the read for Pat White. And you're going to have Owen Schmidt coming right there. Watch how Pat White's eyes, he's just going to go right there. Once the end commits down, quarterback's going to come right here. Typically, there's somebody right here to force him to pitch. But this is an X factor. This is speed, and Raynaud gets in the way of Campbell just enough to allow him to get to the outside and use him as a shield, and then down the sideline he goes for a touchdown.
First down throw by Palco, dumps it over the middle, right into traffic. Stevens howling, gains about 5. Coach is getting up over there. That's a spirited discussion. Is that Tony Gibson, the defensive backs coach, getting in the face of some of his guys?
Yeah, it's ironic in the week of Bobby Knight, just barely given a little bit of a, I don't know, what would you call that? A little,
kind of popped him under the chin.
Popped him under the chin to get his attention. It's ironic to see this right here. And that's, as a player, that's kind of part of the game there, especially in this one.
And football, it's kind of expected. Hoops, not so much. Palco pressured. He'll throw it away. Was looking initially for Seabucus, the tight end, in the slot, but Reed Williams jumped in there.
Looks like the Home Depot coaching adjustment, at least for a couple plays. We've seen West Virginia's defense play with some enthusiasm up front, getting after Tyler Palco, at least getting into a 3rd and 5.
Tyler's got to calm down now. He's getting in his receiver's face.
I think he feels that he's seeing a blitz here. They're showing it. Let's see if they tricked him or if they actually come with the blitz here. Now they're sitting back.
They leave the tight end in to protect, and he fires into traffic, almost intercepted by Antonio Lewis. Well, Derek Turner was there, but Lewis had his hands on it. And the Mountaineers get a 3-and-out stop.
The Mountaineers showing early before he actually made his check that they were going to come. I think he looked to his right thinking the blitz was coming over the slot. By the time he got his eyes back to the left to his intended receiver Turner, Lewis almost stepped in front of it and returned it for a touchdown. Nice job of disguising the blitz and then sitting back into the zone by the Mountaineers.
Pittsburgh forced to punt for the first time tonight. Adam Gressel. Mountaineers pointing to the Panthers.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 44 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
The ironic part about that last play is Matt Cavanaugh told us that I asked him, any check with me at the line, any freedom? Do you give any freedom to Tyler Palko? He said, it's ironic you bring that up. There's Coach Cavanaugh, the offense coordinator, talking with Palko. He said, we've got a 3-wide receiver set where we're going to give him the check with me at the line, and that time we just saw that, and it backfired on Palko.
Well played game, Kirk. Only 2 penalties, a 5-yarder for each team now. Gressel, good looking boot. Ron Rivers in traffic, hit immediately. Jameel Brady, the defensive back, nice job covering. 42-yard punt and no return. Kirk will be joined by Bob Davie and Brent Musburger in the booth Saturday afternoon. West Virginia up by 4, back in business, and they hand it off to Slayton at 3.
Staying focused here tonight. We're going to throw in a promo here about Saturday.
Does that throw you off?
No,
you haven't slept all week, and now you're wound up.
I'm excited. I'm flat out giddy. Cannot wait for Saturday afternoon. See those two powerhouses collide in Columbus.
I'm going to have to maintain you and Desmond on opposite ends of the set. Corso in his own orbit in the middle. I got my hands full Saturday. They flip it out there to Slayton. Looks for the crease. Is patient. Dives across the 40 and has a 1st down. There you see the other side of Slayton, the runner. Not just pure acceleration and speed, but the patience, reading his blocks.
Well, it's a lot about having patience as a runner, but it's also one of the things that Rich Rodriguez demands from receivers. Top of the screen. Look at the wide receivers. Not great blocks, not dominant blocks. What they call that is stalk blocking, and you're basically just trying to keep yourself between the defensive back and the ball carrier. They did enough there to allow him to get a seam to the 1st.
You don't have to do much to create a seam, and there's a seam, and there's Slayton. Forget about it. A flag comes in late as Slayton reaches the end zone. 59 yards, but will check the marker back at the Pittsburgh 40. The marker came flying out way after Slayton had left that area.
It was right in the holding area.
Sure was. But the flag came out after Slayton was long gone. The infraction may have been earlier.
It takes time to reach for it.
Number 7.
Brandon Miles.
Yeah, you can't call it on the Playboy All-American Center. You give the DB the flag in that one.
Right.
High snap, and White shoots ahead, breaks free of a tackle momentarily. 1st down at the 43 of Pittsburgh. So the first major penalty of the night nullifies what would have been another touchdown for Slayton.
This Pitt defense struggling tonight to stop Pat White and Steve Slayton. Something to remember is they played pretty well with the exception of last week against UConn when they were up 31-17 with 8 minutes to go and gave up 317 rushing yards to UConn. You got to wonder if a little bit of that hangover is affecting their confidence tonight.
White corralled for a loss. Gus Mistakis. Floridian there on the stop. Gave up 45 points to West Virginia a year ago. Dave Wanstead's comment at halftime, we just got to run faster. Got to get faster as a defense. Well, not a lot faster this year, and it's been another big night so far for the West Virginia offense. They're on a 500-yard pace plus.
You get the feeling that the only way Pitt can stop West Virginia is if either West Virginia stops themselves or they create a turnover.
It's Nate Sowers now in the slot to the near side, the backup quarterback. But Slayton takes the handoff and slams into traffic up the middle for a 1-yard gain. Mackenzie Matthews, the young true freshman defensive end, has been relieved of his starting duties tonight, but getting some reps in here.
That was a great play by the defensive end, Joe Klarman, who just stuck Jake Figner and drove him back in behind the line of scrimmage, and Steve Slayton ran right into the back of his own offensive tackle. Klarman showing some serious strength there.
Slayton motions to the slot on 3rd and 11. White is tracked down near the marker. He did not get the first down. Mistakis chased him down. Not bad for 265-pounder.
Chris, he's pretty athletic right here. He's not even gonna try to get to Pat White. He has Dan Moses, and he's almost playing like a linebacker. He's spying him, and that's asking a lot for a big 265-pound defensive tackle.
They'll go for it on 4th and a long yard. 3 for 5 on 4th down this year. It's White going to throw it downfield.
Since those interceptions, 3.
They don't challenge him.
Nope. That's why.
Good job by Reed Williams. He grabbed the ankle of Stevens Howling. 1-yard loss.
It'd be great to go into some illustration and a great lecture on the difference in the second half and what these defenses are doing. What we've seen, I know Pat White's gotten out a couple times. What we're seeing is when they're effective, it comes down to the defensive line. The defensive line getting penetration and winning the battle. I think they're doing a lot of the same things schematically.
Pittsburgh may just shelve the running game. Malco, he'll be sacked for the first time. Boo McClee got him. The guy who missed a tackle here 2 years ago and allowed Palco to get in the end zone for the winning touchdown did not miss that one.
He went right through the tailback. Stevens Howling, 175 pounds. Boom, he actually holds on for the ride all the way back to Palco. Boo McClee is the leader of this defense as a senior. He understands this rivalry as well as anybody, and that time got the pressure on Palco.
He understands that he's got 80 pounds on Stevens Howling.
He went right through it.
255 versus 175. And now it's the West Virginia defense with a big series here. 3rd and long for Palco, who's pressured again. Tyler able to elude tacklers for a while, still alive. Dumps it short, caught by the fullback across the 35. Not a first down. A flag is down. Antonio Lewis on the stop.
This is usually a clip or a man downfield, one or the other, because that's Tyler Palco from 2 years ago. That's what Matt Cavanaugh's worked so hard on getting out of his game. This is designed to roll to the right, but the pressure just came from Ivy on the backside. He's actually able to shake off Reed Williams, and now he's just searching, trying to make something big happen on 3rd down. He's lucky enough to complete the pass. That's what Matt Cavanaugh spoke yesterday. That's all he talked about, is how he's been avoiding those kind of plays.
They declined the penalty because it was short of the first down. And here's Gressel. Vaughn Rivers back deep. Low kick. Rivers lets it bounce, and it'll be down inside the 5. Introducing you to the academic side of college life.
Okay.
Not that I spend a lot of time in the library. He's Boulder. Mountaineers pin back after the nice punt. But Slayton looking to improve the field position in a hurry. Look out, Steve Slayton is collared over there. A flag flies. They'll tack on 15 to the run as Rivas got him by the face mask. That's a nice way to improve that field position.
Well, it is. And what happened there is Tommy Campbell took himself out of position by getting so excited that they had the West Virginia offense
Personal
pinned.
foul, face mask, number 25 on the defense, 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
Watch to the left of your screen. Tommy Campbell coming way inside, making it for an easy block for Renaud, and then it's just speed to the corner, and very fortunate that I know Revis came up with a nasty face mask, but
ripped the whole hat off.
Yeah, he's lucky that Slayton didn't go right by him. That's how you get out of the being pinned inside your 5-yard line. You find number 10 in white.
Yeah, about 8 seconds later, you're in Pittsburgh territory. Panther defense again needs to rise up here. Mountaineers looking to build in a 4-point lead. White keeps it. White has a crease. White rolls down near the 20. How about that? 2 plays sandwiched around a penalty. They go from their own 2 to the other guy's 20.
It's the exact same play we saw earlier, only this time towards Mackenzie Matthews, the freshman. He's going to read it again. Slayton comes down, and this is a little bit different, and Clint Session in space gets exposed. The reason it's different is this time he reads it by riding Slayton and being willing to pitch the ball to the outside to Schmidt. That's why you can't really get a feel or any tendencies on West Virginia. They'll go either way.
Slayton running left is stopped. We have ex-Panther great Bill Fralick, whose number 79 is one of the many guys who I'm sure has memories of backyard brawls in the past. White still got it. He's got a crease, and he's got a touchdown. What do you think, Bill? Is that great offensive line blocking or just fast backs?
Well, I'll tell you what, those 2 guys would make me come back out of retirement. You know, Slayton and White just put so much pressure on you, and as a defense, and you know, we've got a young one, defensive line trying to.
Look at that hole.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Clint Sessions out there in space, not sure if he's going to pitch it or not, and it just put so much pressure on it. And you've seen tonight that White can throw the football too pretty well when forced to.
They sure can. It was all about the forward pass in the first half, 201 yards, but now they get back to the A game, Kirk, the running game in the second half, and now they lead by 10, 11 with the PAT. Back
Off the floor. I think Dave Wanstead's going to take it to another level. It's going to take a few years. I like the way he coaches football. I like his mentality. I think it's what you see in successful teams of any level. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think at the end, if we're patient enough, we're going to see an excellent football team out of Dave Wanstead.
This Doran Dickerson has been the scout team quarterback for Wanstead, simulating Pat White in practice with a kickoff return, and now some urgency for Wanstead's offense down by 11 inside of 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. If they can't get the win here, though, Bill, lose a 4th in a row, you get Louisville next week. I mean, will people in Pittsburgh be happy with a 6-6? I mean, it's not a lot of evidence of this thing going in the right direction. No. If they can't turn it around here.
Yeah, when you lose 5 games in a row, it puts pressure on you, and you know you'd be naive to think otherwise. But you know, there's still time here, and you know, that to me, when he came here, I knew the one thing that could keep him from getting to where he needed to get to was not.
There's this 3 wide receiver formation where he has some flexibility and the ability to call the play at the line of scrimmage.
Fakes the pitch and hands it off to Stevens Howling, and there's a flag in the holding zone. It will be holding against the Panthers. Been a real problem for this Pittsburgh offensive line. They had 5.
Number 68 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat first down.
5 holding penalties against USF, which just killed their efforts in that game. That's Joe Valenti, the center. Hadn't been a real penalized team all season. One of the better teams in this conference in that department, but at key moments, some of these losses, penalties have popped up.
Well, especially when you get down 11 in a hurry and you haven't been able to be as productive as you were in the first half, and you get a little bit of momentum going, and then they have to start it back at 1st and 20.
Malco fires far side, making the catch on his knees over there is Kinder. They get back 11.
But Bill Fralick just made a good point, and the fact that there's still plenty of time. I think it's still going to come down to whether or not Pitt can stop Steve Slayton and Pat White, because I think Tyler Palco will continue to put pressure on the Mountaineer defense. It's a matter of time till he makes a big play and gets them into the end zone.
On the stretch, Stevens Howling will be dropped for a loss. The running game just hasn't been there at all. Matt Cavanaugh hoping for enough of a running game they wouldn't have to throw the ball 40 times, but it hasn't developed.
Well, and I understand what he's trying to do. He is seeking balance. He wants to make the defense be aware of both the run and the throw, because that's what his offense is built around. But Chris, only 26 yards rushing. They're going to live and die now with Tyler Palco's arm.
Yeah, less than 2 yards a carry running the ball. 3rd and 10. You may have 2 plays to get these 10 yards. Off the corner comes Lewis on the blitz, and he's got Palco for a huge loss. Antonio Lewis, Kirky, has been a little bit in the doghouse, lost his starting job, but a big play there.
Well, this is the advantage of disguising the blitz and pulling back, and then showing the blitz and coming. Tyler Palco's eyes go to the right. By the time he comes back to the play side, Lewis is in his face, and there's nothing that he can do. In the way he reacted, there was some confusion up front with the offensive line about the pass protection and how to take care of the quarterback.
So much for trying to go for it on 4th down after the 15-yard loss. There's this short punt, which can be covered at about the 32. Lewis makes a play, and now West Virginia will try to build.
Huge game.
Raynaud can't slip the tackle. Tommy Campbell, the linebacker there. Linebacker fast enough to be trusted to cover a wide receiver one-on-one. But you better make that tackle.
Can Pitt get a turnover?
Boy.
I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. Can they get a turnover? Because I don't think they're going to stop this Pat White offense right now.
And 25 takeaways on the season. They're pretty good in that category, but none tonight. White fires downfield. Incomplete. He overthrew.
White's pass incomplete.
Bolden.
Well, the last drive was more about what West Virginia has built their reputation on, pinned inside their own 5-yard line. Steve Slayton bounces it, gets some blocks, and then just uses his speed, tack on 15 more. And then it's the read, the triple option. This time with Steve Slayton up the middle, he pulls it out, goes up for a big gain. And then this time it's Owen Schmidt again. The defensive end collapses down. Great read by Pat White, and he goes around the right end. So same play, once to the left, once to the right. And they ran that football all the way down the field.
On 3rd and 7, Pittsburgh brings pressure up the middle and drops White. Little stunt there. Joe Claremont, the defensive end, looped around and got the quarterback.
Exactly right. And Dave Wannstedt told Aaron Andrews walking off the field at the end of the first half that we're bringing pressure, we're just not getting to him. That time they brought the pressure, and they actually were able to get to him. But Pat White and Steve Slayton, despite the Mounties punting here, pretty good night for both of those players.
You got Kinder, the guy through the block. He's back there again, but Rivas is the deep man. No rugby punt. They just kick it straight away. And this time it's Kinder. And Rivas throw a block for him. A little return out to the...
Sprinkling in a few runs.
Power formation here, 2 tight ends as Kinder comes in motion. Palco looks that way quickly, loops the ball out, almost intercepted by Lewis. Lewis had a chance. The man who just made the sack had the pick in his hands. Not a good decision by Palco that time, huh?
That's the second time we've seen him throw to the left flat and have some miscommunication where West Virginia defensive back has almost stepped in front of it and gone about 45 or 50 yards right down the sideline for a touchdown. What I'm seeing is West Virginia is bringing a lot of pressure and a lot of blitzing. When they see LaRod Stevens-Howling, the 175-pound tailback, they're trying to run right through him with linebackers.
Final 30 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Now that would have been it. I mean, Lewis makes that catch, takes it the other way. That's it. Rain starting to fall a little bit more now. Pittsburgh in that 4th quarter, Kirk, is going to have to turn around and go into that wind right toward the river. That's a tougher end for the kickers and for the quarterback. Palco has Kinder open, but slides it downfield, and a first down to the 45-yard line to Marcel Pastano.
West Virginia is a defense that is known to play a lot of zone defense. And one thing that Tyler Palco, who is relentless with his preparations, told me yesterday was they have to be able to find pockets. And that time they were able to give him time, so he was able to find that hole to put it in there.
This will be the final play of the third quarter. Palco trying to direct traffic, but he'll be hammered at the 41. Johnny Dingle there for the sack, combining with the safety John Holmes. So Pittsburgh down by 11 and a victory.
They continue to motor along with over 200 yards in that quarter.
They flip it underneath. Kevin Collier, the true freshman, in a tailback now. His first action tonight is short gain. Collier, the lightly used player, but maybe Stevens Howling on a short week after 32 carries against UConn, wearing down a bit. They go to the young guy for fresh legs.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I think one of the adjustments that Jeff Castillo has made is the depth and rotating so many different bodies in and trying to keep them fresh, because they're winning, clearly winning the battle in the third quarter in the trenches with their defensive line and linebackers getting penetration, stopping the running game, and getting into Tyler Palco's face.
Palco, plenty of time on the play clock as he steps out and makes a change. Mountaineers showing pressure, and they bring it. And Palco will fire on the run. A flag comes in late. The completion to Turner, good for first down yardage. He beat Lewis, but it'll come back. The pressure has been getting to him and forcing holding penalties.
Holding, number 76 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat third down.
6X Kirk and that offensive line having to commit a couple penalties to keep him off Palco. Oops.
Tick for tack.
They didn't catch that one.
Yeah, Lewis trying to hold on for dear life with Turner. They didn't catch that. And it's another Pitt penalty at a crucial moment in the game. They haven't had a ton of penalties, but they seem to come at a time when they cannot afford to make that mental lapse. Palco got outside. He didn't need the help there that time from Ota.
Collins, the lone setback, 3 receivers on 3rd and 16. Over the middle, caught. First down.
Palco
Took a shot from Magro, but 22 yards. Sets up the Panthers inside the 40. Palco looking down the sidelines. Jump ball. Incomplete. Larry Williams was defending on Kinder. That's more of the old Palco. The gunslinger took a shot.
He took his shot downfield. The ball is thrown pretty well, but I'm going to tell you, great coverage by Larry Williams. And you could say, well, there's a little bit of a hand check there. They're pushing back and forth. All I know is the ball looks like it's caught by Kinder, but Larry Williams fights to be able to try to get that ball, and that's been a big point of emphasis. The ball came down. Williams just positioned himself, and he, at least by fighting to try to get his hand in there to knock the ball away, ended up enough to get the ball out.
Pressure in the face of Palco, and it's a sack. Eric Wicks on the blitz. The 7th sack for this Mountaineer defense. Wicks, that bandit rover position, who's the team leader in that department.
They're bringing a few safeties and linebackers here. This time they're going to come from the outside with 2 guys. And what's interesting here is Pitt has to pick up one of them. There's only one guy there. There's confusion in the backfield by Stevens Howling coming down to help by Yukis, the tight end. 2 guys took Holmes, and it freed up Wicks to get there to get the sack.
It's the 3rd sack for Wicks. Short completion.
It's been payback for Wicks.
Another crucial play for Palco. He flips it complete, but not getting the first down yardage is Turner. Good job by Vaughn Rivers and Reed Williams to hold him short of the marker. Mountaineers take over.
Jeff Castile brought a blitz, which was very, very smart. By bringing a blitz, he forces a quick throw by the quarterback. And the safety's able to come over there and make a nice play. There's the blitz. He's got to get rid of the ball. Safety comes over, makes the play short of the first down. Good call.
Mountaineers get the football back up 11, early fourth quarter.
The usual.
Yeah, whatever. See if they can chew clock. Every play, of course, that Slayton gets the football, there's potential for something special.
Sports Center, ESPN News All.
White keeps.
Chris, thanks. A couple times they've done it tonight, Kirk. 5 wide receivers, and then White just bolts up the middle.
And it's because they're going to spread you out with 4 wide receivers, but he's got Owen Schmidt behind him, so as a defense, you have to pick your poison. Are you going to load up against the run and give him one-on-one options to throw to on the outside, or do you get concerned about his throwing that we've seen tonight and then give him the extra man with Pat White running the football? See, a running quarterback gives you an extra man to be accountable for as a defense, and that's one of the things that Rich Rodriguez does a good job of exploiting.
This time it's Slayton. Bye-bye. Helpless feeling for Wannstedt. 55 more yards, another touchdown for Steve Slayton. And that White-Slayton combo, Kirk, they had 2,500 rushing yards between them coming in. White with a $187, Slayton with a $146 tonight. And
Rick Trickett, the offensive line coach, when he goes back and reviews the tape, this is going to be one of the plays that all the offensive linemen are going to get a check mark for, because they did a great job of opening up a nice running lane there for Pat White to hand it to Steve Slayton. And it's a couple guys in particular, Dan Moses. We talk so much about in this offense how important it is for the linemen to get to the second level. Dan Moses gets to the second level. Great turnout block by Jake Figner on Clermont, but it was Dan Moses' block that sealed the hole. And when you have Steve Slayton, and I don't even want to guess how fast he is, but you give him the ball, you can't catch it.
2 touchdown runs, 2 touchdowns receiving. It was 2 weeks ago tonight that Slayton had the 2 crucial fumbles. West Virginia's loss at Louisville took it hard, and he has bounced back since then. Huge game in Cincinnati, just went crazy, and he's going crazy again tonight, showing the skills as a receiver as well as a runner. And he's going to get right back into the Heisman race. We said this was a potential showcase game for the sophomore.
Yeah, he's had a great night, catching about 6 catches for 130 yards. The lineman opened this up, and it is just well designed right there by Dan Moses. Figner takes his man and turns him out. And the safeties did not help themselves at all, Chris. Sam Bryant ran up so fast that he took a poor angle, and by the time he got up there, number 10, the Roadrunner, was going the other way.
The Roadrunner runs about a 4.3 40.
At least.
He's about as fast as White. They're almost identical times in the 40s. Slayton won the race when they went head-to-head. Reminds his buddy of that occasionally. Not much between them, though. It's Robinson. He's dangerous. Can he make a big play for the Panthers? And he gets it out across the 30. We talked about the speed of Slayton a week ago. You see the handoff. And John Bowie, you're going to see in your screen here, right there. He's the 100-meter champion in the Big East. Coming from the bottom there, number 33. Is he going to catch Slayton? He didn't get there. He's a 10.5, 200-meter guy. Didn't quite get there when he gets number 10.
100-meter guy. Yeah, he's got world-class speed, and he was not able to catch up to Steve Slayton. Steve Slayton, it'd be fun to put him and some of the fastest players in the country out on an open field and see who can win a race.
Malco finds a tight end, Buchanan.
It is a bone issue. They're going to have to go in and repair it and actually screw the bone together. It is affecting his motion, the way he holds the ball. Now, he actually injured it last season. He thought he could play with it this year, but what the trainers told me is he re-injured it this year, and now he's going to have to get it taken care of.
Yeah, I talked to him last night. He said it is a concern. You know, you have to have in your head, Kirk, you got to change hands with the football left and right, and he feels, you know, less secure with it in that hand. But if you can't catch him, you can't rip the ball out of his hand. So hasn't been a problem tonight.
No, hadn't been a problem at all. He's recovered from that. We talked to Rich Rodriguez on the field before the game about that, and he said it was just a matter of getting his feeling and his strength back. That's why he came back finally in that fourth quarter. It'd been fun to see if Steve Slayton were healthy that whole game. Louisville played a great game. They took advantage of the game being at Papa John's Stadium, but to see him healthy for 4 quarters, it would have been fun to see that matchup again.
It'd be fun to see the Mountaineers and the Scarlet Knights in a couple weeks. Malco flips it short. Collins, the fullback, dodges a tackler and dives across midfield.
Has Dave Brown moved that one to a primetime game yet?
I don't think our programming wizard has made that move yet. Rutgers in primetime this Saturday against Cincinnati, and that game will be in Morgantown. Really going to be interesting to watch that Rutgers defense, top 5 in the country in so many categories, try to slow down this Mountaineer offense. It's produced 540 yards tonight. Speed versus a speedy, high motor kind of defense of Schiano. Now remember that Rutgers, you know, has to manage the situation, deal with success, win at Cincinnati. Final home game is Syracuse. West Virginia actually needs Rutgers to win those 2 games, come into the showdown in Morgantown undefeated, beat them. That would create a 3-way tie. That's if Louisville can win out. Short, look for Kinder there, who was headed downfield. So still a lot to be sorted out, Aaron, in this very competitive Big East Conference in the last few weeks.
Certainly is, and CF, I had a chance to speak with Rutgers head coach Greg Schiano right before our game tonight. He says it's been very exciting around campus this week. He said they're really trying to spread out the whole media attention and not just make Brian Leonard and Ray Rice have to deal with it. They're spreading it out so all the guys can get used to it. Practice after the game we had them on Thursday night. He was very proud with the guys, how they came out. He said they weren't silly, they were very mature, and he gives a lot of credit to his seniors for keeping them like that. No injuries, but guys, this week, Brian Leonard missed a practice and Ray Rice missed a practice due to the flu bug. It seemed to have hit the Scarlet Knights, but Greg Schiano not too worried about that one, as Cincy is on the schedule this Saturday.
They probably caught the flu, Aaron, and that big mob scene on the field after the game. Contagious. Jaron was bouncing around there as he had 70,000 people. It seemed like.
All I know is coaches always say the right things, and I'm still concerned for Rutgers going to Nippert Stadium. And Mark D'Antonio has a very physical defense, even though they gave up some yardage last week against West Virginia. I think the Scarlet Knights are going to find out what kind of maturity they have and see how they handle that success.
Oh, he's hammered on 3rd down. Reed Williams. Pummel Palco in the blind side. 8th sack for the Mountaineers.
Well, the difference in this game from the first half to the second half, where Pittsburgh had a lead at halftime of 27-24, has been the adjustments by Jeff Castillo and the way he's brought more pressure and the different ways that he's brought pressure. His defensive line and his linebackers have taken this game over, worn down the Pitt offensive line, and have created havoc in the backfield for Tyler Palco.
Yeah, that's the 5th sack in the half, and when you don't have a running game, you're going to be susceptible to that kind of a pass rush. Hunt will be down inside the 5. Panthers are doing that part well, but West Virginia gets the football back, rolling towards another win as the Panthers are staring at a Slayton out of the eye, drop quickly in Columbus, and still it's a super long shot. But still, they're in with a chance, a small one.
And a rematch for the national championship. All those scenarios that you just talked about.
Oh, I agree.
I think they would end up beating an undefeated Rutgers or a 1-loss West Virginia.
White keeps it, follows his blocker, takes a hit, but gets across the 15 for a first down, 9 more yards. Yeah, it all comes down to the pollsters' opinions. They're 2/3 of the BCS formula, and I think a lot of that depends on how that game unfolds Saturday in Columbus.
I think if USC wins out, that's the one team. It doesn't matter how close the game is in Columbus on Saturday. I think USC is the
your
wild
opinion,
card.
deserves.
Yes, just in my opinion, I think they would be the team that would end up being able to run the table. If Notre Dame beats USC, then it becomes an interesting scenario.
Notre Dame's a much longer shot than USC.
Right.
Slayton, because Notre Dame lost to Michigan head-to-head, big time. So you can't justify if they have the same record at the end of the season. I don't think many pollsters would vote Notre Dame over Michigan. Just my opinion.
Right, and I think some people would look at it and say, sure, head-to-head, Michigan beat them. But I think some people would put a lot of credence in the fact that Notre Dame is improved as a team if they were able to go to the Coliseum and beat USC.
Well, I give them great credit for finishing 11-1 and improving as a team, but I think it came down to those two teams.
Sure.
47-21, what was it?
That would probably not work out for Notre Dame.
So they need to have a tie in Columbus.
Well, they need Michigan. They need Michigan to blow Ohio State out.
They need to have an old-time Big Ten tie. Flag down as Slayton is dropped for a loss on 2nd and short.
They need Michigan to blow Ohio State out and then end up having USC beat Cal. And then next week they need to go to the Coliseum and beat SC.
I don't think fans in the SEC are going to accept your scenario, though, that USC is the one team that has the chance to jump over the loser of Ohio State, Michigan. They get Florida wins out. I know you've said they had some ugly wins and they've struggled at times offensively. But if they get through that thing, 12-1, beat Arkansas in the SEC championship game, yeah, the USC had its struggles as well, too.
Sure.
Lost to Oregon State and had some close calls, Washington and so on. And I think you can make an equal case for the Florida Gators or even Arkansas, which did obviously get blown out head-to-head against USC. Arkansas's got to have USC lose to have any kind of case.
Yep.
Some people think the system is great because there's all these conversations and scenarios in the end of the season. Some people love the BCS because it's creating interest like this. So I think a playoff would be pretty interesting.
I love the fact that a lot of these teams that are up there in the top 7 or 8, a lot of them are playing one another. That's the greatest thing.
But don't call it a playoff, please. Don't say because Ohio State's playing Michigan and because USC's playing Notre Dame, it's just like a playoff. No, it's not. That doesn't account for the Big East teams or the SEC teams. It's not a playoff. 3rd and long is the Panther defense. So trying to play hard here in the closing minutes. White still alive, cutting back. 1st down. Wow. What a special night for Pat White. Started out throwing the football. After halftime, it's been with the legs.
He threw for over 200 yards in the first half, and this carry gets him over 200 yards rushing. And this is great running, great athletic ability, and awful tackling by Pitt trying to bring down Pat White in the open field.
419 total yards. If you add together rushing and passing, we'll call it 418 on that graphic. And Slayton, by the way, the first Mountaineer player ever, Kirk, to rush for 100 and have 100+ receiving yards in the same game. First ever. Big hit there, losing the helmet. Yeah, get out, kid. Slayton got hammered by Blades, who will hit you. So you get that helmet tightened up. That's about the 2nd or 3rd time it's come off tonight.
It's the only way they could stop him. Get the headgear off.
Horatio Benedict laid a lick on him.
Blades comes in.
Boom. Hat to hat.
Yep, you're right. I mean, that's not a hit that you would expect to see a helmet come off on.
HB still woofing. But that's just frustration for the defense as the Mountaineers approach 600 yards offense in this game.
We appreciate Pat White here doing a good job. It's called milking the play clock. It's a good job out of him.
He's still in there taking shots, though. Plowing straight ahead up near the 1st down yardage. Set the jump in the car, make that drive eastbound on 70, the C bus tonight.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I'd share the driving with you, but that ride is way too fancy for me. I'm like a Colorado SUV guy. Your ride is too fancy to let me behind the wheel.
Easy now.
That thing, kind of horsepower, this hour of the night.
Yeah, you're out
Put
of
the
control.
troopers on alert now in Ohio.
Speedy Gonzalez. New York City driving.
3rd and inches.
Midwest style.
Midwest style is fast in a straight line, though. Just like this guy, Slayton. Does he have one more touchdown in him? Maybe he's finally starting to show some fatigue. Slayton stopped down inside the 15. He was flirting with touchdown number 5 for a while. Wow.
You know, I don't think he ran out of steam. I think he's just trying to stay in bounds. He slowed up to lower his shoulder into Clint's session. I mean, we have seen this the entire second half. After catching the ball for big yardage, now he just sets up that left shoulder right into Clint's session. He wants to stay in bounds and keep the clock moving.
Is there a better running back in the country than Steve Slayton?
Not right now. As long as Adrian Peterson's not dressed, Steve Slayton's the best back in the country.
There's going to be guys looking for candidates in their Heisman ballot, even if they have
you got to
Troy
put him
Smith
up
and
there.
Quinn.
You kidding me?
Well, but there's guys that are in the mix.
You got to have him in your top 3.
Slayton stopped at the 5-yard line as he looks for touchdown number 5. You got to have him in there.
I was going to say this year where we've got our binoculars on, we're looking everywhere for big-time candidates. You have Troy Smith, Brady Quinn, Steve Slayton.
Darren McFadden of Arkansas making a late run. He's got a couple of more showcase games. He's got 3 more games.
He's a great back. He's got 3 games. And next year he'll be one of the front runners for the trophy. But I think right now,
Ray Rice deserves some consideration for Rutgers.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's an unbelievable number of sophomore backs out there.
All over the country.
It'd be a great year next year when all these guys are juniors.
You think backyard brawl style, they put this one into the end zone?
They give it to Slayton. Trying for one for the thumb here in Pittsburgh, but he stopped at the 5. Inside of a minute, maybe they have a chance to run one more play here.
Lost his head gear again. That's the one thing. That'll be the home drive and put the ball into the end zone. They're calling off the dogs here.
Yeah, finally.
Going to take the knee. No, this is nice. They could have put this in, gone for half 100.
Got to play him next year and every year after that.
Yeah, they're going to take. That's class move by Rich Rodriguez.
So the final play of the night will be a 1-yard loss for Pat White. But West Virginia will finish with 641 yards in total offense. Even the coach getting into the chest bump stuff.
He did about 3 of them. Oh, man. Big win.
For Wannstedt and the Panthers, a 4th straight loss with Louisville coming in here next. For Steve Slayton, perhaps New York is a Heisman finalist at least. Rushes for 220, 130 receiving, a Wrangler 5-star player of the game. Again, the first Mountaineer ever over 100 rushing and receiving. He scored 4 touchdowns.
It was interesting to see the versatility in his game. In the first half, they threw the ball to him, and Rich Rodriguez got his team fired up last week against Cincinnati, and he wants them to have fun. Tough loss to Louisville. Guys, there's still so much to accomplish. Let's have some fun. It started last week against the Bearcats. It carried on in the backyard brawl. They've got, of course, the big one coming up at the end of the year with Rutgers.
A little bit like last year's meeting, Kirk. It was 21-zip after halftime in favor of the Mountaineers. So the backyard brawl goes to West Virginia, and they're still in the hunt for perhaps the national championship as a long shot, very much in the hunt for the Big East. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Aaron Andrews, Kirk Herbstreit, our entire production crew here in Pittsburgh, I'm Chris Fowler. So long for now. SportsCenter, Stu Scott and Steve Levy coming up next.